Hello there, vile gamers. This is Buck, and welcome to another episode of content in the form of Buck's Books. The book I got for you today is called Lies My Doctor Told Me, Medical Myths That Can Harm Your Health by Ken D. Berry, MD. So, let me start with Ken Berry. Ken Berry, he was a fat doctor. And he used to tell everybody how to not be fat by suggesting that they eat whole grains and exercise and lower their fat intake, and then everybody kept getting fatter. And he didn't know why this was happening. And then he realized that he himself is a fat doctor. So he decided to do things a little bit differently and went paleo. And paleo worked. He dropped all the weight. So then he started telling his patients to do paleo, and half of them left. But the other half did paleo, and they dropped all the weight, and their blood markers returned to normal. So, eureka! He's got this moment that everything is going to work out. This is going to revolutionize the entire field of medicine. But medicine doesn't want to hear it because he's flying in the face of the sort of established dogma within the medical industry for the past 50 to 100 years, starting with that son of a gun, Ansel Keys. So currently, Ken Berry is trim but not particularly athletic. But he also states in the book that he doesn't exercise, he just goes outside and plays. So if that's all he's doing at his age and he's still comparatively trim, that's credible, that's workable. He marshals his forces and writes this invective unga bunga book lambasting the medical establishment in general and lazy doctors in particular. Ken Berry is of the belief that being a doctor means you are always reading and learning because science gets replaced every few years. And the speed at which science becomes useless junk has increased exponentially, owing to COVID and the intercession of AI, and how every media outlet is bald-facedly lying for clicks. Right? So most doctors, they do not read. That is not the function of a doctor. That is the function of a librarian. Most doctors cut or give you pills. They're interventionists. This is not knocking doctors. That's just what they're for. You go to a doctor with some severe issue, and if they can throw pills at it, they do. And if they can't, they try to cut it out. And if they can't throw pills at it or cut it out, they will redirect you to a specialist. And the specialist will try to throw pills at it or cut it out. And that kind of just becomes the cycle that you get involved in. There are x-rays in between there, but that's most of it. Ken Berry doesn't do that. Ken Berry is one of those preventative medicine guys, and he cites a whole bunch of fringe iconoclast doctors like James DiNicolantonio. If you get the chance to follow him on Instagram, he is phenomenal. He's always just yelling at people to do hill sprints and saying fat will melt as though that were a thing. Berry believes that medicine is a practice, and practice makes perfect. And around 50% of med school training is outdated and useless. Like margarine giving you cancer. Or how the cold doesn't actually give you colds. Or how we don't do leachings anymore. We were doing leachings pretty recently in the grand scheme of things. To say nothing of the fact that, by Berry's own admission, his professional knowledge of nutrition is limited to exactly one half of a semester during med school. Berry advocates for being a huge pain in the ass to your doctor all the time, like you would with anybody else who you pay for their labor. He wants you to quiz your doctor. He wants you to be very annoying. He wants you to print out studies and bring them into your doctor and be like, what do you think of that? Huh? He wants you to ask if they've read the research, and if they have not read the research, get to stepping. He wants you to take your business elsewhere. He anticipates your doctor throwing a tantrum because, for some reason, he suggests that doctors trend toward the arrogant. So, ultimately, his recommendations are pretty reasonable. You're trusting these people with your life. If they don't stay current with the research, with the science, we have to trust the science. If they don't stay current with the science, what is your insurance buying them a yacht for? The touchstone notes from Lies My Doctor Told Me are the same as pretty much all of my favorite caveman health books, and that is that you're supposed to eat food and get some exercise and get some sun and drink water and manage your stress. He says that eating fat is good for you. Well, scientifically speaking, it is, but only if that research has been done in the past 30 years. Before that, fat was the devil. But the actual science we can do right now with like top of the line metrics, fat is good for you. Sugar is the devil. You're supposed to walk, eat, talk, and act like the Jack Links guy. And if you do that, everything will turn out just fine. He managed to sell me on the milk thing, and this is hard for me to admit because I'm a big milk guy. I actually just got raw milk from an Amish fella not long ago. Hey, Jebediah. I'm just kidding. Jebediah won't see this because it's on a computer. He hooked me up with the raw milk, and it was good, but not good enough that I'm going to continue to pay $15 a gallon for it, especially in light of everything that Ken Berry was suggesting to me, which is that raw milk or regular milk isn't actually that good for you. And his reasoning was bizarre, but kind of tracked. He said that if milk were this really good source of nutrition, then nature would have more animals that evolved to steal it. You know, like nature has all of these animals that evolved to steal eggs, or they use mimicry to get breeding opportunities. You know, like there are sneaking into other. There are birds. Might be, I don't remember what bird it is. Any ornithologists in the audience, tell me which bird this is. But there's some sort of bird that sneaks into the nests of other birds and just like poses as a baby bird so that the mama bird throws up in its mouth, and that's food. So like we're doing all that for food. We being animals, you know, we being elements of nature. We're doing all of that for food. Milk is this endlessly renewable resource that's present in all mammals by definition, but there don't seem to be any animals that have evolved to steal milk. We are the only animals that drink milk beyond our like infancy stage, and certainly the only animals that drink another animal's milk. That's an aberration. Aberration? That's an aberration. So, like, I don't go in for how paleo isn't supposed to be eating peanuts, but that's a hard argument to refute, knowing anything about evolution. I had to give that to him. What I will not give to him was processed meat being good for you. Like, I get that meat is good. Meat is good. Meat is good for you. He was trying to suggest that processed meat is also good for you. And, like, probably better than, like, Skittles. Like, if your options are between, like, if you're on a desert island and you can either eat, like, infinite pepperoni sticks or infinite Skittles, you will probably live slightly longer and have a better quality of life if you eat the pepperoni sticks. But much like comparing, in fact, he made the analogy, filtered versus unfiltered cigarettes. Yes, filtered cigarettes are technically better for you than unfiltered cigarettes, but that doesn't mean filtered cigarettes are good for you. Although, the articles would suggest that they were, but only by comparison. And that's what he wants you to watch. He wants you to watch the sort of drift that will occur within the research, because it will and has drifted. And if you don't keep an eye on it, you will start buying into these outlandish claims, like a certain kind of cigarette is healthy for you, or like a certain vitamin supplementation can reverse cancer. Correlation does not imply causation. You know, just because something happens, look up Nicolas Cage movies and drownings, because those correlate at the same time. Look up the frequency of violent crime, like murder by shooting, and ice cream sale. Those correlate, but the confounding factor in the second one is summer. More crime happens in summer, more violent crime happens in summer because more people are outside, and also more ice cream is sold because more people are outside. But neither of those things cause the other. What cause it is more people being outside, and that's because the weather is nicer. I do not know what is the causative factor in the Nicolas Cage and drowning thing, but it does happen, and you should look it up. That's about it for today. Thanks for tuning in. I will soon be posting several episodes about the book Between Two Fires and about books adjacent to Between Two Fires. So I'll see you then. Take care.